What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, what moved it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did go down 2.23%, 28.35 the low, 29.67 the high, and very low volume. So 45.6 million shares being traded, 65.6 is the average. During the pre-market, things were actually looking pretty a-okay. SoFi did have that last minute spike in the pre-market, but that was rather short-lived. So SoFi and many other growth stocks did get hit, and there wasn't really any macro data points today to justify today's push lower, nor was there any news from SoFi. So no news and no SEC filings or anything like that. So it was more speculative in nature, and I think in general, there's the market's digesting what Powell recently said, as well as the potential for a shutdown. So government shutdown, so that could potentially impact the market. So I think in general, the market is just taking what Powell said and causing it to go a little bit lower. And I think in general, the markets ran up a significant amount in a short time span. So it could have been anything. Honestly, Trump could have talked about tariffs, and that could have been that kind of black swan type of action. Probably black swan might be a little bit overreaction, but you guys get what I'm saying. It could have been absolutely anything that would have caused this push lower, because I think the market was trying to wait for some excuse just to kind of take profits and whatever else. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Of course, today you did also have, or I think at late last night, you had Jim Cramer coming out reminding everyone that he recommended SoFi at $4. I wanted to double check that. So I've done and covered SoFi for a very long time. So under here, I did just search Jim. So way back here in 2022, that's when I do agree that Jim Cramer was bullish on SoFi. But most recently, March 31st, he actually was bearish. So it's kind of funny. This is literally a influencer. And I always like to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So if there's a negative, I like to say it. But I never once will say, hey, you know what, I recommended SoFi at $6. Hey, you know what, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of comical. If anything, I actually say, hey, I kind of regret not buying more at 6 or even 10 or whatever else. So I kind of share a lot of my regrets, but I don't know how to take this. Is this a positive for SoFi, the fact that he's saying that he's bullish still, or is it more of an inverse, and is this like a kiss of death kind of thing? So again, that is something that potentially came out associated to SoFi, but when it comes down to shorts, they did return 378,000 shares, 8.65% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 101.76 million shares overall being shorted. It's been a good maybe like 4 days of cost to borrow minimum being positive, so that's kind of a good thing. Maybe you'll see just the overall manipulation go away. And I think just generally, as I've stated, I think like 6 months, a year from now, I won't be really talking about shorts whatsoever. So it's going to be a thing of the past, hopefully. Looking at the options, you did see rather low volume, but 45 million in calls today, 9.68 in puts, and then 42% of all the options being done today were bearish in nature. Net premiums did go down by 308,000, so nothing too significant. Even if we kind of look here, we had massive ones increases like 12 million, 14, 4.8. So last couple of trading days where SoFi was consolidating, you're not really seeing that much bearishness when it comes to the options. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to still be around that $30 range, 30 to 30.50. Tomorrow we do have some big data, so we have good old GDP followed by PCE on Friday, so that should make for a very interesting time. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub 27, so they're anticipating more consolidation, which most likely will come from either one of those two data points, either GDP or PCE. One thing after hours today that is kind of interesting though, causing SoFi to go up 0.42%, is you're seeing some buying, both on the secondary market and also the dark pool. So secondary market, you have 3.02, 3.02, 3.02, 2.9, 1.04. So definitely good to see based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. All of those are buys, so that's what caused it to really go higher. Same goes for on the dark pool. So 8.7 million, 8.7, 1.8, 1.9, and then 1.5. So definitely good to see. As I've mentioned, I think we have roughly like a week left for the Q3 ending, so you might be seeing some rebalancing, so that might be attributed to that, or there might be something that did come out after hours that I'm not really aware of. I know possibly, as far as I'm aware, I don't think any big companies are unveiling their earnings today. So let me know your general thoughts on why institutions would be buying somehow after hours. Do you think that they just had a epiphany and decided, hey, SoFi went down too much in the short term, it's time to buy? Or is this something else, more rebalancing? With it closing at 28.44, it is trading and closed right above this pivot point. So 28.43 will be a key support level for you to watch for tomorrow. And then 29.76 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. Kind of bounced off of that general area when it did spike first thing, but didn't really cross that. So that's going to be the next strong target / resistance. No new analyst ratings or any articles. The last one came out was 6 days ago, $31 price target, Mizuho, Dan, who has a 53% success rating. Aside from that though, no real articles kind of talking about SoFi whatsoever. And based on at least the flow, you can kind of see algos once again were very active, which is abnormal for SoFi. Like I think it went for a good maybe 3 weeks of very little algo trading. Most of it was institutions. The last couple of trading days, algos have been kind of taking kind of exchange for the lack of institutions. And so, yeah, I think in general, SoFi consolidating isn't the worst thing in the world. Looking at this kind of the daily chart, very little momentum whatsoever. It had a little bit of a burst right there, but not really enough to get over a lot of the key moving averages that you want to look at for day trading. So yeah, at the end of the day, not the best overall, but like I said, I think generally SoFi has done a very, very phenomenal job in a short time span. And potentially keep in mind, SoFi still has that something in their back pocket, and that is crypto. So crypto is going to be that big thing that could really push SoFi to kind of the next leg up. When they unveil it, that's the $1 million question. As far as on the actual chart, one kind of point to watch for is that 27.97. So that is that 10-day moving average that will kind of signal more of a reversal potentially happening. Stochastic RSI, because of the recent consolidation over the last couple of days, it did break off of the overbought. So it is still kind of high at 82, but again, if it does consolidate a little bit more going into the next couple of trading days, that'll kind of reset the technicals, so that'll be a pretty good thing. Looking at the market position in comparison to, for instance, yesterday, you see a little bit more willing sellers, but you can kind of overall, there's just a gap. And not official gap, but there's not much buyers. Looks like 27.69, that's where a lot of strong walls of buyers. And then you pretty much have, it looks like 28.92, going to be a lot of sellers. In between there is kind of no man's land. So you might have SoFi trading in that general area for the next little bit until we have some definitive either catalyst, whether it be because of the data points, GDP PCE to push it higher, or maybe inverse, cause it to go down. So let me know your general thoughts. Have you been buying SoFi? Have you been selling? I think in general, if SoFi gets back to the $27 range, so this is where I'll probably start selling 26, 25, and probably 24, more of a laddered kind of staggered approach. I'll be selling puts because yeah, at that price, I feel like it'd be a pretty good buy in general. And plus getting some additional premium would be a win-win. Of course, doing it at that $14 range and higher would have been a lot better, but it is what it is. Can't dwell on the past. So let me know your general thoughts on SoFi. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signal on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.